Kevin's the one who does
I
that.
didn't even know we had
for us.
one.
Yeah,
No, no,
Yeah. We're good. And we have Ginny on the line?
Yes.
Wonderful. Is there anyone else? Okay. And so before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to mute their cell phones, and I'd like to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. Your participation in this meeting is your agreement to be broadcast on the town's YouTube channel. So just know that. Thank you. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah, could you do the roll call for us?
Absolutely. Ms. James? Here. Mr. Chapman?
Here.
Ms. Jones here. Mr. Uterbaum?
Here.
Ms. Monroe?
Online.
Can you hear us, Jenny?
Yes. Can you guys
I
hear
think
me?
Jimmy's on mute still.
Ms. Schuman is absent.
Can you guys hear me now? I'm not muted.
Loud. Hear her. I mean, I see her.
You see her talking.
Can you
See
hear
your
me now?
lips moving?
Well, she's not visible. It's just.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now?
All right. But she can hear us.
Yes. This is whack.
Could I just call her?
Hello.
Hey, you're on speaker.
Okay, thanks. I
Yeah.
can hear you guys fine. I'm not sure why you can't hear me.
Okay. I'm sure it's my end, so.
Okay, no worries.
Thanks, Jane. So,
Can,
If she can mute the computer. Mute
yeah,
us.
can you mute the computer?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
much. So your name was called for roll. Ginny,
Here.
perfect. Okay, we've got a quorum, and we will move on then to the minutes from our March 25th meeting, or March 28th meeting, I should report. Sarah, you want to walk us through? Everyone got it? You got comments back?
Got it? Yeah, we have one correction, one word correction, other than that.
Okay. Thank you for getting those done within the best practice 14-day window, right? And yeah,
Keep up with 3 feet.
2 in a row. Thank you very much. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the March meeting.
So moved.
Sally? Any second?
Second.
All right, Eric. And any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from the March 28th? Well, we need a roll call.
Oh, she's not.
Visible, so, and
Okay.
you've got a majority anyways.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so all in favor of approving the minutes from March 28th meeting as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's move on to the March financial report. Thank you very much for putting it together. Karen, as always, I've had a look at it. Looked pretty good to me. Just for the record, there's approximately $2,500 of appropriation to the visitor center for advertising related expense, which is in keeping with the budget that we've established for them. There's a $29, almost $3,000 bill that is for Baker Tilly for advice rendered relative to our the work that we did in the expanded allocation areas. Oh, and the TIF, that's right, working with the county on the TIF equalization. And then our normal monthly bills from the Troyer Group, this is relative to the Jackson,
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Sorry, are you looking at claims or the financial report?
I'm looking at the claims. I'm sorry, I'm walking
Okay.
through the claims.
Okay.
Yeah. The Troyer Group, which is the Jefferson Street.
The trail.
Trail.
Street.
Yes, Jefferson Gas Trail. Thank you. My memory is just not very good today. And then we've got roughly $25,000 of facade grant reimbursement for Papa's.
That I would ask you if you could make a motion. I'm still waiting on some documentation showing that they've actually paid for the bills. So what they provided me with an estimate or 2 copies of estimates,
Okay,
and then 2 paid bills, but it doesn't, it's not all matching up. So I've made a phone call and then waiting for documentation. You can prove that it's payable upon proper documentation.
okay. Is there any questions
I
or
have a quick question on the visitor center, we approved doing that total amount. Are we gonna keep like a spreadsheet of what we're paying out for each thing off of that, so we know the balance left, or
Yes, I can do that.
or do you want me?
I'm right now, I've just been very.
That's okay. I just wanna
get
see-
back to getting you that information. It's pretty easy to pull.
I mean, we're nowhere near.
You're right.
beginning.
Right, but yes.
in the
yes, we need-
first quarter, they could have blown through it, but you're right,
Yeah,
we got
I
it.
just did that.
Exactly, yes, that will
Or if I needed to do
get
something
back
like that.
to tracking.
Any other questions for Karen relative to the claims? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve claims subject to further documentation on the Papa's facade grant.
So moved.
Sally moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Sarah. Any further discussion around the claims? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving $30,772.46 in claims for March, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. All right, we've got a unanimous vote on that, and thank you, Jenny. We heard you. Yeah, on the financial report, let me get that. It's pretty light month in March. Karen, I don't know if you have any comments relative to it for us.
I don't, but just appreciate your patience until I can get.
Okay, what we had was for the TIFs, we had interest payments in March for each one. Property tax payments. Those are revenues. I'm sorry, the property tax revenue, and then we did the interest expense, right?
Just received it.
Income.
What are the expenses? I'm sorry, under,
I don't have it.
that I was looking at it. I'll walk it over to. I was looking at this one.
Right, so you've received 709.18 in interest on the TIF
Interest,
one,
right.
945.58 in interest for TIF two. You'll receive property taxes in June. The expenses, capital TIF one, that's the account that it came out of. So you had 1,053.85 in expenses for TIF one and $199.48 in expenses for TIF two. You haven't made any bond payments.
And these are the breakdown. of the
That's the
expenses.
breakdown.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So in a way, Sarah, you kind of on that,
Okay.
you know, if you add those up, I could put just a third column just to track the total expenditures.
I don't think we need to worry about it till we get till the end. If we're
Yeah.
going over what we'd said, then we need to vote for more. But so for that, we just had the 75.38 in February and then the 964 in March.
yep.
Okay.
All right. I think I get it now. Thank you. Any, everyone else is already up
Yeah.
to speed on this, right? So,
Yeah.
But I'll ask if there are any questions for Karen. If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the March financials.
Move that we approve the March financials as presented by Karen.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Call for a vote then. All in favor of approving the March financials as presented by Karen? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye. Sorry.
No worries. Any, that's unanimous then. So the March financials are approved. Thank you, Karen. Okay, the next item on the agenda would be old business, the Dunes update. We don't have Kevin with us tonight. He's authorized me to tell you, Kevin Dante, our town manager, he's authorized me to tell you that the Dunes will go before the Plan Commission for approval on May 21st. Is that the Plan Commission date? Should check. The May meeting for the Plan Commission. I believe it's the 21st. Well, it was in the 20s. I know that.
Oh, I'm sorry, 21st, you're correct.
21st. Yep.
And that meeting will be at the admin building.
Right, right. The meeting will be held at the end.
Administrative.
The expectation for the closing of the bonds would be after the Plan Commission, should they approve it, and it would go to the town council, and the town council will consider it. Provided the town council gives its approval, then we can expect that the bond closing will be scheduled and executed. And it would be the completion of the work. The rest is, then the easy part starts, right? Just building all the
Will they need
building
to
all the
go
buildings.
to Plan Commission meetings? Or can they do the whole approval at the one?
It would, the recommendation of the town council will come out of the one Plan Commission meeting, is my understanding. And that's all I've got as far as a Dunes update. Does anybody have anything else on that or questions? Any discussion? Okay, I guess I skipped to approval of claims too early. All right, that's
Yeah.
why I confused you. Yeah. So let's talk about new business, our redevelopment commission report to the town council. Karen gave us a draft of the report. I've taken a look at it. Looks pretty darn good to me. It's good format. So thank you, Karen, for finding that. And thank you for all the work that it took to complete it.
The format's from proposal, but
But you got it. You're the one that got it.
maybe a department. So.
Yeah. No, thank you. You did ask me to provide some input for question 4,
Correct.
which I did.
It's in the packet that I gave you. I copied and pasted, so it's already in there.
Oh, okay. So this may be new to the team here because I just gave it to Karen this afternoon. But it would be on page 4. I think it's section F and G are the 2 sections. If you could take a look at it and make sure you agree with it. Any additions, changes?
This is the first one up to Karen, so.
No, I did not.
Just said that adding active participation in the development of a comprehensive plan could be added in something like this.
Okay. Active contribution to the development of the comprehensive plan. I might also suggest that we were active in supporting you and Kevin in your communications plan around the dunes. Do you think that's worthy of mention? I think I would suggest that. I feel good about that plan. I think it was well done. And I got a lot of feedback from the community that they appreciated the openness and transparency relative to the project. So I think we can compliment our leadership on that and feel good about supporting them on it.
On, under G, says, for support of Culver Visitor Center and production of events designed to increase tourism. Actually, what we support is advertising rather than production. Don't want it to
Yeah, we
sound
do,
like
we
we're
do
paying for it.
advertising. Did we do something different though, this in 23 than we did the year before relative to Lake Fest?
It was mainly for advertising, or, you know,
Just advertising and brochures. Okay. Okay. Then in the advertisement of events. Okay. Thank you, Sally. Any other thoughts? Do you need a motion on this, Karen? Or do you just need me to sign it?
I mean, I guess it would be okay to have that you approved, but you guys are actually gonna have to present this to the town
Ah,
as part of the new.
That's on Tuesday.
one of us is going to have to be there in
And
town.
I don't, honestly, I don't know if it's just, here's our report,
Yeah,
read it for yourself.
Yeah.
Or if there's an actual presentation, it's new and.
would you, Sally, be able to present it on behalf of the team?
I guess that I could. Are you going to be out of town?
I'm not in town.
Is this Tuesday, Rick? I could come with if you wanted.
And next Tuesday, I will
30th?
be in. Yeah. Before I leave.
Okay.
I can be in town.
So, maybe I could make a motion to authorize Sarah and Sally to present this to the town council on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read all of the, yeah. Locations.
Formed.
And I honestly don't know whether it's other people.
Yeah, I'm,
As far as presenting, I think it is more just a keeping account on the back of what your opinion.
right, yeah,
And you guys have done that on base, so it shouldn't come as any surprise as far.
right.
They'll have this ahead of time.
Yes, I will, once I make sure that I've got all the conditions, I will send it out. For your council.
I figure I will just, advise of the different totals and something on that order would be sufficient, make it short and sweet. Because like you say, they can read it, and I'm not gonna read this at a council meeting. Not in its entirety.
Okay,
I'm guessing there's redevelopment commissions that are not aligned with elected officials in parts of the state, or, it's like a way of forcing communication between the two. And that way,
Yeah,
I mean, they are appointed positions by the elected body, so you would expect there to be communication, but there are probably places in the state where it doesn't happen the way it does in Culver, for example.
And it's
Correct.
okay for you to present even though you're on council, right?
Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, if you're there, you could.
No,
Right.
it's okay. Let's be there for backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, what she said.
All right, so there's a motion potentially dying for lack of a second. Erica. Okay, thank you. So we've got a motion to ask Sally and Sarah to present this report to the town council with our approval. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got a consensus on that. Good to go. And that leads us to my favorite part of any meeting, the public input. None. And none online. Karen, there's Jenny. Okay, member input. Starting to my right, Erica. No update on the spring trip, senior trip.
Trip, like Roland coming back to work. They'll be in Florida, that would be all right with me.
Yeah, welcome back. Good to have you back. Sarah?
I just had a couple questions from people regarding the old theater. And if there's anything town can do, CRC can do. I mean, it's just getting worse, but do we know anything about what's happening with that property or?
So there,
I haven't heard anything recently.
the estate is being resolved, right? And until we know who has the ability to do a deal, it's kind of hard to do anything.
Even, I mean, even like what Rochester did, like, people are revitalizing those theaters, it would be really nice.
There's a lot of interest, a lot of interested people. I've met with several of them, and I know a lot of meetings have taken place without me.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that when you talk to the heir of the previous owner who's deceased, you've got to probate it, right? And it takes a year or so for that stuff to settle out. And until then, there's not too much that can happen. Kevin, you got anything more?
I was gonna suggest that you call the attorney. The city attorney was Tom's local attorney. So if there's anybody that would have information locally, it would be Jeff.
Okay.
And then there was a group formed to do something with it, but I think they got, I don't know that they've officially disbanded, but they've not been able to do anything.
I tried to look
because of
online on it,
probates.
they had it, and I couldn't find any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, it wouldn't surprise me if they disbanded, because
I don't even know if they officially just banned it. They just kind of
Didn't do.
can't do anything, so they're just kind of.
Right.
That I think is more the case, because
Yeah.
I've spoken with at least one of them recently.
like you say, there was interest, but until the estate settled, I think we're kind of, we and whoever else is interested in that, doing something with it, everyone's hands are tied. Thanks for the information.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that member input with some of my own, because I have thought about the theater in terms of the Ready 2.0 cycle, which we're in the middle of, and the Lilly grants, which have been put on top of that. And the region was awarded the maximum amount, potentially of 40, I think of 45 million. Ginny, correct me where I go wrong in any of this stuff, will you please?
Sure.
The region was afforded 45 million, which is the maximum of the highest of any region in the state. They're going to call for projects, and it's going to be almost wholly related to bricks and mortar, not programming type work. Now, that total pool for the state of Indiana is $500 million. So it's 45 part of 500 million. The Lilly Foundation has put 250 million on top of that 500 million. And to be administered in essentially the same way at the same time with slightly different purposes. They are focused on eliminating blight, and also in supporting the arts. Some 80 million, 86 million, I think is the number of that 250 million is in support of the arts. So when you think about blighted properties and the arts, and the theater pretty much is in the bullseye of that target, right? So there is a way to get at that. Now, the good news is that unlike previous Ready, it's going to be more of a rolling application process and project approval process rather than everybody apply, here's the answer, now wait for the next cycle. So our inability to do it now isn't necessarily going to kill our opportunity. There may be opportunity down the road. So if not the theater, then what is my question, for this team is what other projects should we be trying to help cobble together to take advantage of the opportunity, if any?
I tried to dig into the comprehensive plan to see what kind of thing.
Right.
It's a big plan. It's a lot of information. So you look back on that and see if there's something. Get our teeth into.
Jenny, what comments would you have for us on that? Jenny?
Well, ironically, I've been attending today a Greenways Trail Foundation luncheon, where they give out annual awards, and they had a great guest speaker, a guy named Chuck Flink, who's authored numerous, probably 3 or 4 books that talk about how trails bring economic development to communities, as well as health, safety, mobility, etc. And there were some very large projects this man has worked on in the U.S. that he talked a lot about. And then it also was a luncheon that awarded a guy named Ray Irwin Ray was the guy who developed Hoosiers on the Move, which was the first like big trail plan for Indiana back in the late 80s. And what I found so interesting about both of these guys and sort of the things that they spoke about was how the surprise of trails is economic development that has resulted from them. And they also talked about how, you know, being early pioneers in that realm, fighting for greenways and for communities, et cetera, was sort of a made you an easy target for a lot of criticism and attacks. And, you know, they had some much better battle war stories than I've heard in a long time. But anyway, it just made me think about some of the trail investments the CRC has done. And some of them are well accepted by our community. Others may not have been as much so. But this guy Ray that they were giving sort of like a legacy achievement award for lifetime work and trails. You know, he said he still just gets a thrill seeing a child ride a bike on a trail or a family walking down a trail and not knowing how it got there or the work or the investment that got that trail there. And it made me think an awful lot about the few miles that we've put in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that, you know, we are at that stage where we've reached one end of our town limit on the south end of town and one on the north end of town. And the next idea would be to connect our community to another community and think more regionally. I hope that we can do that at the county level. But obviously it's going to take investment from communities to do that. And that's one possibility for the CRC, but I think some of the things we have invested in for the small businesses, whether it's a facade grant or even the visitor center doing marketing for those businesses and for events, I think are all positives. But I agree with Sarah about looking at the comp plan and some of the strategies and goals that are coming out of that process, and seeing where we might do some long-term planning for CRC.
Yep. Thanks, Jane. Since you've got the floor, do you have any input past that?
Yeah, I definitely think we've got to focus on Main Street right now in the short term. We have empty storefronts still, and we need to bring some expertise in maybe, and strategize about how to fill some of those empty storefronts. I know it rose as a top issue in the comp plan process. And I'm sure there's a role that we can play in that and should play in that. Sometimes that one's hard for me to get my head around. So I want to know what the experts say we can do there.
There was a discussion at the board meeting of One Marshall County. Were you there? That was last week, right?
Yeah, about possibly investment there and getting those communities to collaborate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a Main Street plan, a multi-community Main Street initiative for Ready.
Yes. And I think even if we weren't prepared to do that for Ready 2.0, it needs to be something we do, even if it's for round 3 or for some other funding. I think it's a great idea. And that would force regional thinking and how do we leverage what's unique about each of those communities on Main Street.
The theory, as I heard it, was not every community needs to do the same thing with their Main Street. You could have 5 different communities doing 5 different plans for their Main Street, but when you package them together, it becomes big enough to be of interest to the ready deciders, because the dollars are so big. There's some sense in that, I think.
And I think having a plan that's thematically Main Streets, you could have one community that needs to do more brick and mortar repairs, if you will, or you need investment in that side of it, whereas you might have others that you need upgrades like we did on our Main Street probably about 10 years ago when we did all the uniform lighting, the bump outs, the crosswalks, things that are supposed to make the downtown more attractive. How do you get people to, quote, dwaddle in your downtown area, stop and spend time there? You could come up with a number of different things across each of those. I thought it was a fabulous idea, Marty, because I don't think any single community's Main Street would be considered at its best,
Yeah.
Plymouth has probably come the furthest with some major investments, the Reese Theater being one of them, and they're looking at like plans for their downtown blocks, like from a road mobility transportation standpoint.
Yep. Yeah, I was at that meeting at the Reese recently, and they're very early in their planning on that.
And Bremen's significant stellar investment was on their Main Street.
Yeah.
They did when NDOT came through and did their project, Bremen did a streetscape project, then they did the Jackson Street project right off of Main Street, and then had investment in the community center off of Main Street. Like their whole goal was to make Main Street more of a destination place. As Trent Weldy said, we don't have a lake, but we can make our Main Street a destination. And if we all, got those communities collaborating on a plan, they could all learn from each other as well. Like what worked well in that project, what didn't.
Okay.
And I do think most of the communities now do have a redevelopment commission. I mean, maybe that could be an initiative we reach out on, but.
Just to note that you mentioned those lights, the uniform lights, and that reminded me of that one we talked about a couple meetings ago. By where they redid their front there and they took out that one light. Did we need to follow up on that? Or is that
The one in front of on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
between root beer
NIPSCO's
stand
supposed to move it to the corner, closer to the corner, or to the root beer stand corner. There's supposed to still be a light.
Okay, so they're still putting.
Yeah, they approved moving it. I'm not necessarily sure that they approved taking it out, but that was when I was still town manager. Bob and I contacted NIPSCO and talked about that light. I don't know why that one didn't get replaced with one of the nice ones when we did that. It was probably a matter of they were very costly to buy those lights.
I thought it was a nicer one, wasn't it?
No, it was one of the tall old NIPSCO ones.
I think I'll follow up, Jenny, on that idea of getting together with other redevelopment commissions on Main Street for a ready project.
I know also that Bremen has a Main Street organization, as does Plymouth and Culver. I think I know Argus doesn't, but I think at one point Bourbon was trying to get a Main Street organization, and Okra had put that on hold, but then reopened it again. So I don't know if they ever formed one or not.
Okay. They love me in Bremen and Argus. I
And La
can tell ya.
Paz doesn't have one, but I think they'd be interested, you know, in being invited to that.
I may need some help for communicating with certain towns. All right. Well, no, they know me. That's part of the problem.
Well, they're getting my.
I know.
Yep. They love both Jenny and I, and Argus and Bremen. All right. All right, good. Sally, you got anything for us?
I really don't have anything.
Okay. Okay.
I know when my neighbor gets back into town, I plan on talking to him. I understood that he had bought the property out there on Jefferson.
Oh. Okay. All right, great. Great. Karen, anything? All right. Well, in that case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hey, Jenny, thanks for calling in.
Oh, certainly. Thanks for allowing it.